Hey guys, welcome to today's video. Today's video we're going to talk a little bit about finesse jigs, small finesse casting jigs mainly. This here happens to be a Pee Wee football head from Jewel Bait Company. This is in the 5/16 ounce weight, and this here is in the 3/16 ounce weight. I'll show you what type of rods I like to fish them on, what type of trailers I use, and a little bit of modification to the trailers that I do use when I'm fishing these. I love fishing these on the rivers. I love fishing them on the lakes. Anywhere between a foot of water on the rivers to 5 or 6 foot. In the lakes, I'll generally go to the little bit bigger one, and it'll go, I'll fish it all the way down to 20, 25 foot. They do make these in 3 sizes: the 3/16, 5/16, and a 7/16. Generally, my go-to is the 3/16 and the 5/16. I generally don't like to fish my jig, this little jig, in mainly more than 15 to 20 foot of water or so. So the type of rods I use, and the knot that I tie, and the trailers that I use. The first one I'll do is the 5/16. Nothing special on a knot. This is the knot I know a lot of guys like to know the knots you use on your jigs. This knot here is a double loop type knot. Of course, go through once, as you can see. Then I go back through. Make it just like that, like you're tying a Palomar knot. The only thing is, I just wrap this one about 5 to 6 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Back down through the loop that was created whenever I started. Of course, you want to wet it, and then slide it down. Now, when you get it slid down there, you basically have 2 loops to tie to trim off. Make sure we got a good cinch in there. Take my little nippers. Trim it down. And that's the knot that I use. Like I said, this is the 5/16. I generally fish this on a casting rod with 10 or 12 pound test line. No more than 12 pound test line. I use a high speed reel, something in the 6.3 to 1 to 8 to 1. This here happens to be a 7 to 1. I'm fishing it on a medium heavy, moderate rod with a kind of a fast tip to it. So I have a lot of good backbone in it, and a real good tip, so I can drive the hook home. You don't have to set the hook really hard with these baits. They're a little nasty little hook right here. It's a real sharp point to it. Now, on the trailers that I use 2 different types of trailers. And I'll show you one of them right now, and then when we do the smaller jig, I'll show you another type of trailer that I love to use on them. This here happens to be a Zoom Little Critter Crawl. Now, the modifications that I make to this is I want to make it pretty small. So I take my 2 little legs off on each side. I pull them off. Sometimes I leave the tentacles on it. Sometimes I take them off, but I always want to trim it down, because I want this to be a small, compact jig that I'm dragging. So I'll generally take, you're looking 1, 2, 3, 4 sections of the crawl off. So when I'm done, my crawl will either look like this, or I'll cut the little tentacles off of it here, and then I'll just have my two pinchers out. Nothing more than just sliding it on. Guys, these are a great jig to throw if you're throwing for a lot of smallmouth, spotted bass, or just small keeper size bass on the rivers. Of course, put my trailer on as straight as I can, run it up, cinch it down. Now that's my little compact jig. As you can see, really small, really compact. Works great. really catch a lot of fish on it, a lot of spots, smallmouths. I know, especially around here in West Virginia on the Ohio River, they love eating this small jig. Okay, we'll move over to the 3/16 ounce jig. I generally fish it on a spinning rod. Makes it a lot easier to cast. There again, I'll take my my jig. I do use a braid to fluorocarbon leader. This happens to be 15-pound braid. This is the 10-pound fluorocarbon leader. I use the same knot, as you can see, even on the small jig. As you can tell, we're having a little bit of a stormy, windy day here in West Virginia. Air temperature's real cold. Same way, you know. Guys, always make sure you wet your knot when you do this. Cinch it down. You'll have your 3 tags to cut again. You see your little loop right there that you're going to cut. And of course your tag in. So I'm cutting my loop off. Clip that down. Now I have my little jig. This happens to be the little 3/16 ounce side. Like I said, it works really good when you're dragging it on a spinning rod. So there's just a tight little jig. Now the trailer, that other trailer I'm going to show you, is nothing more than a paddle tail trailer. Now on this one here, it's a little long for me. Some of the guys use the full strength. I generally cut, you know, just a little bit of it off. Generally back around on the third ring. So I'm cutting about that much of it off. I do like it to be a little long, but I don't want it to be extremely long. There again, nothing more than just slides right up on. Measure about where my hook should come out. And there you have a little finesse football head jig. Way up there. As you can see, there we go. It's all straightened up. And there it is. It's just a little jig, but it has quite a bit of action with the little swim bait on the back of it. This bait works really well in extreme clear water, especially when your river systems or your lakes get really clear. It works really, really well. This rod here, like I said, I'm fishing 15-pound braid to a 10-pound fluorocarbon leader. This is a medium heavy rod with an extra fast tip. You can use it generally on a medium rod if you want to. With a jig, I generally like to have a little bit heavier backbone. But as you can see, the rod has a real fast tip to it. You get a real good hook set. I'm telling you guys, they really eat these baits up on the rivers and on some of the clear water lakes. I know these are the baits are made down around Table Rock, North Fork. Use them a lot in the Ozarks. We use them a lot here in some of our clear water lakes, and especially on the rivers. I hope these tips help you out a little bit about your small finesse jigs that you're casting. Seem to work real well here in West Virginia. Seem to work real well all over the country. So hope these tips help you out a little bit. Till next time, good fishing. Thanks a lot, guys.